This is a good topic.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maya Luria with TMC for Seniors. And today we're really going to dive into our healthy habits, especially when life gets busy. I have Mary Mellady here. She is our director of TMC Connected Health and Wellness. And Mary, I love when you come. We always learn something new, something that we really need to start doing. And I know during the holidays, this is a great time to start really diving into getting into those healthy habits. So I want to welcome you for being here today. And of course, we do have an in person audience along with an at home audience. So I'm going to go ahead and put Mary's presentation up. And Mary, you can go ahead and get started. If anyone has questions, if you are watching us at home, please feel free to leave them in the chat and I'll ask Mary when she finishes her presentation. So you should be ready, Mary.
I am. Great. Thank you, Maya. And welcome if you're online. And hello to my lovely ladies here with me. And so, as Maya said, talking about maintaining healthy habits is really important during the holiday season and entering into the new year, right? Because during the holidays, we get bogged down with whether it's shopping or traveling or cooking or going to parties or events that we aren't a part of our normal routine. And so sometimes our habits that we've gotten into that keep us on a good, healthy path might get thrown off to the side. And generally, come January, we all make a resolution. Do you guys make resolutions? No? Yeah. It seems like fewer and fewer people are actually making resolutions. And I am one of those. It's what?
You break them anyway.
You break them anyway. I was going to say that. Like, I think I read a study a while ago, a long time ago, and it was probably within the first 6 weeks, only about 20% or 30% of the population still are going strong with their resolutions.
Yeah.
So, but I am old school and I still make resolutions. I make 3 resolutions, so I've narrowed it down because sometimes people make all of these. I'm going to start a new diet. I'm going to start to exercise. I'm going to be more, and they do all these big grand resolutions, which we're going to talk a little bit about today as why that right there sets you up for failure. But I specifically make 3, I don't really call them resolutions. I just make them, they're my goals for the year. One around something physical, one around something mental, and one around something that I call spiritual, which is just what's going to bring me joy. And so I try to do that mind, body, spirit, and I make them fairly achievable. This year, my mental journey was to start reading again. I had gotten off the reading game, and so I said I'm just going to read 4 books. That's all. I used to read like a book a week, and so 4 books. I was like, it's going to be easy. And life gets in the way. So we all have these times where sometimes maintaining our healthy habits or what we want to achieve sometimes is easy to get put off to the side. So anyway, first let's kind of think about what we're talking about when we talk about healthy habits. And I've put these into 2 categories, the physical ones and then more mental habits. And they go hand in hand because if any of you've heard any of my talks before, you all know, or just in your own lives, you've realized that what happens upstairs in your brain can definitely impact what you choose to do physically. So if you're not really feeling it, you're probably not very likely to go out for that walk if you haven't done the mental healthy habits. So under the physical ones, I'm going to kind of be talking about things like making healthy food choices. And I talk a lot about that with you all because I'm a dietitian, so that's what I mainly do. But this is things like, that we're eating a lot of whole, real foods, the fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, whole grains, low-fat dairy, and really good sources of lean protein, and starting to eliminate some of those high-fat, high-sugar, high-salt foods, which are going to become so prevalent if they haven't already in your life. It seems like come October when Halloween hits, all the candy comes out and it just transitions from ghost shapes to pumpkin shapes to Christmas tree shapes. And it just stays with us for almost 3 months. So those healthy food choices sometimes become a little bit more difficult this time of year. Daily activity. We always love people to be active. And we term it as activity because exercise, everybody kind of goes, ew, ew. And they kind of have that reaction. I don't want to exercise. That's too much. I don't want to sweat. So just think about it as daily activity. What are you doing every day that you enjoy that gets your heart rate beating a little bit faster? And good sleep hygiene. And I mean by this, I heard somebody in here talking about they didn't sleep well last night.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of trace back what happened. And that's what we consider our sleep hygiene. Are there things in our daily routine that are getting in the way of helping us have a good night's sleep? So are we looking at our phone too long at night? Is our room really cluttered? Because that has been shown to affect our sleep. Or are we eating too late and our digestion isn't quite done before we want to go to sleep? And there's numerous other things, but that's what I'm talking about sleep hygiene. And there's so many other healthy habits around your physical well-being, going to see your doctor annually, things like that, making sure you take your medications correctly. Healthy habits around mental well-being are things like the mindfulness. Are we practicing mindfulness every day? And this doesn't have to be, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to read a daily quote. If that's not you, that's fine. Mindfulness also comes in the form of, are you appreciating what you're doing? Are you enjoying sitting right here right now? Or was this kind of like, yeah, I better go. Joyce texted me and told me I better come. It could even, be as simple as, are you paying attention to what you're eating while you're eating it versus just eating while you're staring at the TV? Self-care. A lot of the times people don't like to hear that word self-care because they're so busy taking care of everybody else. I don't have time to take care of myself. But we need to take care of ourselves. And that could be something as simple as just taking a 5-minute break to wash our face, massage our hands with some lotion, just something that brings us a little bit of calm and a little bit of peace. So taking care of ourselves. And then practicing gratitude. There is, just so much research, and it comes more and more to light that if we practice gratitude, that trickles down to so many more things. It helps us reduce our levels of anxiety. It helps us to handle stress better. It helps us to sleep better because it just kind of, it brings us into the moment of what we're grateful for. And then that allows all of these other things to kind of happen. So those are kind of some ideas that when I think about healthy habits, those are some of the things I think about, okay? And so be keeping those in the back of your head as we kind of go through some more of these slides. So how do we maintain doing these things every day? Well, first of all, we need to shift our focus from a what to a why. So why do we want to be healthy? Why is it that we want to eat healthy? Why is it that we want to exercise every day? Why is it that we want to be mindful and practice gratitude? That has to be individual. That's for each one of you. That's not for me to tell you. That's not for your doctor to tell you. That's not for your significant other to tell you, because that becomes a what then? What? I need to eat more vegetables. Ugh, I hate vegetables. Why do I want to eat more vegetables? And it's not, you don't own that intrinsically. If you don't own your habits, if you don't own your behaviors, if they aren't something that you intrinsically want to do, the chances of you maintaining that habit go down significantly. So start to think about, what are my values around my health? Is it important for me to be able to be active every day and be able to play with grandkids or be able to take care of a loved one? What's important to me? What are my values? What's my sense of purpose? Why do I get up every day? And then start to create your healthy habits around that. Okay, don't let somebody else's values or what they want for you start to dictate what you think you should be doing every day. Think bigger than the singular event. How many of you have a friend or maybe yourself that have said, all right, I'm going to start working out and I need to lose 20 pounds in the next 2 months for my loved one's wedding because I need to fit into that dress. Okay, and you do great because you're so motivated. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to look really lovely in the stress. And then afterwards, what do? You gain it back. And statistically, probably a little bit more. Yeah. And you're like, well, that didn't work. And so then you almost get mad at the whole healthy eating process and exercise because, well, that didn't work out so well because look at me now. And it had nothing to do with that. It had the fact that you were focused on just being healthy, making changes for one particular event versus a lifelong change, or for something that you wanted for yourself versus just to look good in a dress. So consider how, this is really important, this ties up to the first bullet point. Consider how this change might improve your quality of life. What would be different? So if we put into let's talk about sleep, because that's what I heard this morning. And I didn't hear the whole thing, I just heard I didn't sleep well. And if this is a consistent or chronic thing that happens, maybe we should need to look back at, all right, what am I doing leading up to my bedtime? What's my routine look like? When did I eat? How much TV or other, kind of blue light devices have I been on? Am I really stressed? Is the temperature of my room okay? Is there too much clutter that's causing me unknown anxiety? So start to thinking about that sleep hygiene. Those healthy habits, if we start to do those correctly, and then you start to get all of these great, consistent nights of sleep, those habits are more likely to stick, right? If you can feel the result, the outcome of what you're doing, then that makes that habit easier. It makes it easier to get up in the morning. You feel more refreshed. It makes it easier for you to do what you need to do the next day. So that's what I mean by what healthy habits can you create that, and how is that going to impact the rest of your life? You're not doing the habit just to do it. You're doing it so that it improves the quality of your life. That's your outcome. Okay. So think through that. Not just an event. It has to be important to you for more reasons than just something somebody else told you to do. And thinking about how does this link to an overall improvement in my life? And then understanding our barriers, because many times we will say, okay, I really want to eat healthy. I really want to lose some weight because I will feel better. My joints will feel better. I'll be able to be more active. I will just feel better about myself. And so you're all on board. All right, good start. But then you're really tired one day and you're coming home and there's your favorite restaurant glowing. It's almost got like a halo and it calls out to you. And you're like, oh. So what are you going to do? This is a barrier for many people. How do you handle these little diversions that might pop up when you're having a rough day? That might be a barrier. It might be a barrier that you don't pack snacks when you travel, or you might go on vacation, or you might go to a party. Those are all barriers. We don't think of them as barriers. We think of them as pop-ups. But if you have things popping up every single day, then it becomes, that's actually your habit. Your healthy eating is not your healthy habit any longer. So thinking through that, what are things that might come in my way from achieving or from being consistent with the things that I say that I want to do? And so the questions are, why do we do the things we shouldn't do? And why are healthy changes hard to make? Have any of you ever heard of the book Atomic Habits? Yes. Mm-hmm. And I am blanking on the author's name, but Google Atomic Habits. It's a fabulous book. I listen to it just driving a little bit every day. And he explains this very well. The reason we do things that we shouldn't do, that we know we shouldn't do, but we keep doing them, it's because that's what we're used to. What we're used to is what's easy for us. And why on earth would we want to do something that's challenging for us? And that's why healthy changes are harder to make, because it's something new. And so it becomes a challenge. So it takes extra effort on our part. And we as humans don't really want to make an extra effort. We've got enough going on in our world to have to make an extra effort. So why not keep doing the things that are easy and comfortable? What we know is what we do. That's pretty much true. Unless we can start to feel that something is easier for us or gives us a reward that we can feel, physically feel. So when we're going to talk about food a little bit later. If we can physically identify that foods don't make us feel good, we don't eat them, right? If you know of something that's going to make you have some sort of negative reaction, whether it's you break out in hives, you have problems breathing, or it really upsets your stomach, you're less likely to eat those foods, right? Yeah, unfortunately, that's not chocolate for me. I wish. Sometimes I try telling myself that chocolate is as bad as nuts for me, but I don't really internalize that very well. But so he goes into talking about the idea of making habits that we want to start easier. So healthy habits like eating well, make it easier for yourself by having healthy foods around. If you're going to a party, bring something, whether or not you're supposed to, bring something healthy with you that you actually want to eat. Because if there's nothing else there, you know you have a safe food. If you know you're going to be very busy throughout the day, start your day with exercise, because that's the easiest way to get it done if you're going to have a really full day of other obligations. If you think that you're going to fit it in between different events, it's not going to happen, because that's not easy. We have to make changes easy for ourselves. And we have to make our habits that we're comfortable with more difficult for ourselves. So we eat ice cream every night. That's bad. Stop buying ice cream so that it's not in the house, so that you can't just easily eat it. You would actually have to get dressed, go to the store, buy some ice cream, and come back with it. Versus having a bowl of fruit cut up and ready to go in the refrigerator that you could snack on. Does that make sense? The easy versus hard. Make the habits you want to stop more difficult to do, and make the habits you want to start more easy for you to do. Okay, and that can go whether it's activity, or whether it's sleep, or whether it's being more grateful. If you want to be more grateful, set out by your coffee maker note cards that you can write a thank you note, or just a nice hello note to somebody. Have them right there, because we all know we're sitting there watching the coffee maker, come on, as it's dripping. Okay, so why not use that 5 minutes to write a couple notes of thankfulness or of just greeting that keeps us connected with somebody that we might not see all the time. So set up the things you want to do in ways that are easy for you. Okay, make a list of your barriers. Really start to think through that. And it could just be each week. It doesn't have to be, these are my barriers for all time. This week I have a lot going on, so it is going to be very difficult for me to fit in my morning walk. How am I going to get that done? What is my plan B? Or this week I have a lot of social engagements, and so it may not be as easy to stick to my healthy eating habits. What should I do? Okay, so it can be each week by week. And this last bullet is super important. Ask for help. If you really want to stay with your healthy habits through these holidays, let your friends know. You're going to go to their house and say, I'm really trying to stick to my healthy habits. Is it okay if I bring something else to share with everybody that might be a little healthier? And I can guarantee you every single person is going to say, absolutely. Yeah, I should be doing that too. Okay, nobody's going to say, no, only bring junk. Okay, so ask for help. Be upfront with what you're trying to accomplish. And then baby steps. As its saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Every little step builds on the next one. Thinking about fad diets. How often have any of you tried a fad diet? Like something, and did it work? No. Yeah, it never does. I hear about all these people, I lost 20 pounds in a week. And I'm like, well, come talk to me in a year. We'll talk about it then. And they will have gained, like you said, more back. Doing something that is going to get you to a result immediately almost always means you're going to end up failing in the end, because you've done a quick change. You've done this huge 180-degree switch. And eventually you're going to say, whoa, that was really hard. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have to get up at 4 a.m. and go run 10 miles every single day and only eat 500 calories. I don't want to do that. That's no fun. That's not making these healthy habits easy. And that's pretty unrealistic. I was exaggerating just a little bit there. But again, doing something drastic is not in our nature. It is probably not consistent with your daily habits that are you're accustomed to. So thinking about little changes, small changes add up to big, lasting success. So if you're trying to eat healthier, pick one thing to change. Don't change your whole diet. Just maybe stop. Maybe just cut back your sugar. I realize I have a sugar problem. I know I'm a dietitian, but I have a sugar problem. And so my goal is I'm just not going to eat anything extra sugar. I'm not going to eat any extra added sugar that I don't need to through the week. But on the weekend, all right, maybe I'll have something. Maybe I'll have a dessert or something. I'm not saying I can never have it, but I'm making a small little change, and that's the one thing I'm going to focus on. If you want to exercise more, if you want some more daily activity, maybe it's just 3 days a week that you go out and you walk for 20 minutes, and that's it. Or maybe you do that very famous one, park your car at the end of the parking lot. And this is actually a good time of year to start that, because parking lots are going to be filling up with holiday shoppers, and people are not kind about opening their doors. So park way far out in a parking lot, and then you get some steps in, and you protect your car. And it's lovely weather right now, so you get to be outside a little bit. So that would be a great way to start just adding some activity into your day every day. Okay? Small little steps. And it doesn't have to be everything. Just keep doing it. And how good are you going to feel for yourself if you've maintained something healthy through this really tough holiday season? Right? And again, it doesn't have to be physical. It can be that mental. It can be just journaling every day. You pick what's important to you. What is your values? All right. Now, this is very important. Nobody, think about a monkey. Did anybody think about a monkey? What color was he? Mine was black. He had a long tail. Yep. So if we tell ourselves we can't do something, that's the thing that we focus on. If we say, I can't ever eat sugar again, I'm going to be like, whoa, I need something right now. It's going to be like, it's like this carrot that sits out and dangles out there. And it's like, you can never do this. So guess what? I'm going to taunt you with it. So we got to flip our school, what we're telling ourselves. It's not, I can't eat sugar anymore. It's, I get to eat more fresh fruit. I get to be a little bit more creative with the different kind of fruits I'm trying. Or I don't ever get to eat out anymore. Okay, well, no, I get to learn how to cook at home. You have to flip what you're telling yourself from positive or from negative to positive. And it can't be, I hate working out. It's think about I get to be outside. We are so lucky to live in this city right now. The weather is beautiful. Some groups, friends of mine, and I'll tell you more about that, but we were outside this morning at 5 o'clock, and it was so gorgeous to watch the sunrise. I watched the sunset last night out on a mountain, and I watched the sunrise this morning on a different one. So beautiful. Why aren't we taking advantage of that? So think about what you get to do, okay? If it's about changing your sleep routine and doing something different, I get to go to sleep tonight, versus how many times have you had bad night's sleep and then you're like, ugh, I have to go to sleep tonight, because you're dreading it, right? So we want to change our healthy habits from dread to something we're looking forward to. And so we already kind of went over that. I get to. That has to be our script. I get to. All right. And then sharing is caring. So I talked about this a little bit when we were talking about going to parties and bringing some healthy foods with you. So sharing your experience with others that you care about. Encouraging family and friends to join. Creating a support group. Buddy up. So here's my little tale from this morning. Do you all know where Tumamoc is? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So somebody had been asking me, oh, we should go meet at Tumamoc. I'm like, oh, it's so far away. I don't want to drive that far. There's a lot of people there. And eventually I went, and I made it. So I went with like 15 other women. And now we go every week, and it's so fun. And not everybody shows up every week. We kind of flip around, but it's like our time to get, decompress from the week, and we just gab the whole way up. And it's like people must look at us and be like, oh my gosh, it's that group of ladies again. They're so noisy. But so we encourage each other, and we all like text each other, are you going to be there? Yeah, I'm going to be there. And so having this group of support that we are friends and we go and do something healthy together, it's not like we're actually exercising. It's really like we're just meeting there and talking the whole time. And so creating these experiences, you can do this with any number of things. You could be journaling and just send a reminder, hey, I'm going to journal. Does anybody have any ideas of some thoughts to share? That we could, as a kind of how we start off journaling. Or does anybody want to cook together? That's so fun, getting people together. If you all have been listening to any of our talks for any number of years, you might remember Lori. And she and I got together last week, and we did a cooking demo together. And that was so much fun, just to cook with somebody that you haven't cooked with in a while. And you learn so many different things. You learn different spices. Even if you're going off the same recipe, they might have some different things to add. So bringing people together is a way to share that experience, gives you support, you learn something, and helps to reinforce that healthy habit. Okay? So buddying up, create that support system. And this goes for when you're starting your new year. Maybe you don't have resolutions, maybe you don't have goals, but maybe you have a group that you get together and you want to start something new. And maybe it starts as just, spending time with some people that you really enjoy, and that turns into something altogether different. And that right there, spending time with others that we care about, is a healthy habit. That support system is so important for our health. We undervalue that, I think. All right, so making a plan. How oftentimes do we say, yep, I'm going to go do X, or I'm going to stick with this healthy diet, or whatever the case might be. And then again, the beacon of hope from the McDonald's shines brightly for us, and we go that way. So we always have to expect the unexpected, especially during this holiday time. So maybe this probably isn't our first holiday season. Use some of our experience to think through, okay, what's going to happen this year? We're going to have lots of family in town. We're going to have lots of social engagements, especially, if you have not been visiting people. It seems like we might be more visiting with more people, or traveling a little bit more this year. So maybe we might have a few more barriers this year that we didn't expect, or than we would normally have. Or we might be eating out more than we have in the past few years. So thinking ahead to help yourself stay on track is important, to make that plan. And also understand when you can't stick to the plan, and that's okay. Maybe you're going to meet some relatives at a restaurant, and there really isn't anything very healthy there for you to eat. You know what? That's okay. Let it go. Do your best, and then move on. And so that goes to this, we're not perfect, so be kind to yourself. Plan as best you can. Plan ahead. Think about what might come and become, pop up and get in your way of some of your healthy choices. And then if you can't stick with that, it's better for you to say, it's okay, this is just one day, and move on to the next day, rather than berating yourself and telling yourself, I blew it. That was terrible. Why did I do that? I can't believe I did that. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to feel so guilty that you're going to say, well, never mind. I'm giving up. Might as well just put it off. I might as well start again in January. And then January is going to show up, and you're going to forget all about it. You're going to be off in a whole other direction. So think about a healthy habit as you're on this road. It's a continual journey. Nobody ever reaches the end of it. And occasionally we stop at a little turnout to take a view of something, and then we have to get back on the road. So when you're at that turnout, enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. whether it's eating or whether it's taking a rest day or whether it's something else completely. Enjoy it. Be kind to yourself, and then get back on your road the next day and do your best. Okay? And just learn to live with that balance. Healthy habits aren't all or nothing. It is actually anything is better than nothing. So if all you do is get your shoes on and you walk down to get the mail and you walk back inside, you know what? That was better than not going to get the mail at all. If all you do is drink one extra glass of water, that's better than not drinking that glass of water. So think about, it's not all or nothing. Something is better than nothing. Okay? That's all you remember from today. That would be fabulous. Okay. All right. What questions do you ladies here have? Any? Maya?
So Mary, thank you. Thank you for sharing easy ways, I think, that people can incorporate, a healthy habit. And I think especially the way you spoke about taking the negativity out of it and looking for the positive spin. I think that's really important for folks. Mm-hmm. And I can say that, for me, when I look at, for instance, one of my habits, which is exercise, that for a long time, it was all about group exercise, right? And that helps the motivation and the fun, to be honest, right? So I think we look at that and realize that there is a way to do it, and you just sometimes you have to give yourself grace. Maybe one day you just can't make it, but yeah, I agree with you on all of that. So I think those are great tips that people can incorporate, whether it's for exercise or whether it's the food and the nutrition. I haven't tried taking anything to a party yet, but but maybe I should, right? Because there are a lot of chips and chocolate and high fat dips and things like that as well. So so I love that you were able to incorporate all of those simple techniques for people to take with them, especially during the holidays. So I want to thank you so much for being here. I'm going to let you turn it back over to the room, but we'll wrap up online. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Bye, Maya.
So thank you so much for joining us for today's presentation. We'll be starting back up again at the end of the month, so after Thanksgiving. We hope that you'll join us for Mental Health and Persistent Pain, which will be on Wednesday, November 30th at 10 a.m. If you are interested in registering for that class, please give us a call at 520-324-1960. Thanks again.